Let's move on to another thing off the top here. Now, as you guys know, there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on with James Gunn. James Gunn made some jokes almost 10 years ago. On his own, without being called out, James Gunn went, I don't think those jokes represent who I am. I don't think those jokes are very funny. These jokes are stupid and insensitive. I'm going to stop making those types of jokes. Made that decision years ago on his own. And then for whatever reason, people want to punish him for them now, even though they were publicly said 10 years ago. Whatever, some people don't get it. Okay, so anyway, Dave Bautista and the entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, put out a message, if you will, a statement in full support of James Gunn, a testimony to the type of person he is and all that kind of stuff, and that they all wanted him reinstated. Dave Bautista, though, has gone one step further now to actually say, I'll do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 without James Gunn because I'm legally obligated to, but he's saying now he's finding working for Disney nauseating. Here's what Dave Bautista put out publicly. He said this, I will do what I am legally obligated to do, but Guardians without James Gunn is not what I signed up for. Guardians of the Galaxy without James Gunn just isn't Guardians of the Galaxy. It's also pretty nauseating to work for somebody who'd empower a smear campaign by fascist cyber Nazis. That's just how I feel. So let's read that one more time because there's a couple of interesting things in here. I will do what I am legally obligated to do. Okay, so right there, that's one of the things. A lot of people have been asking me the last number of days, do you think maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy cast will refuse to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3? And one of the things I've been saying on the show is, well, they can't do that. They have contracts. So they've got to do these movies, or they have to retire from acting. One of the two. You can retire from acting and be let out of the contract, but you've got to make a choice here. So they have to do it. So we've said that. So Dave Bautista confirms that by saying, I will do what I am legally obligated to do. But Guardians without James Gunn is not what I signed up for. Guardians of the Galaxy without James Gunn is just not Guardians of the Galaxy. That was pretty much the sentiment echoed by Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, Zoe Saldana, on and on and on and on, as they all put in that message. But this is where Dave goes a little bit one step further. He said, it's also pretty nauseating to work for somebody who'd empower a smear campaign by fascists and cyber Nazis. That's just how I feel. So this is the first time now a lot of the Guardians of the cast have been calling on Disney to rehire Gunn. That's probably not going to happen. And I get it. I understand the position they're in. I just wish Disney had been honest about it instead of lying about it. But I get it. I get where they're coming from. Understand why they fired James Gunn. It's not what I would have done, but I understand why they did. And I understand their decision to not hire him back. I get it. I do. I don't agree, but I get it. And with the cast calling on Disney to rehire James Gunn, this is the first time, though, one of the cast has come straight out and spoken disparagingly about Disney and the way they've had. Now, I've been very outspoken about my criticism of specifically Alan Horn, the head honcho just under Bob Iger, but the head honcho of Disney Studios. And his statements, which I believe were deceitful, lying, disingenuous, all that kind of stuff. I wish he had just put out an honest statement and then everything would have been fine. But Dave Bautista is now the first guy to come out and openly, one of the cast members, to openly disparage Disney, using a strong word like nauseating to work with them. This is clearly something, I guarantee you right now, there are representatives from Disney talking to Dave Bautista representatives as we speak. Now, those conversations, I guarantee, are happening right now as we speak. They're saying, do you think Dave can maybe take that tweet down? Stuff like that. And you know what? Maybe Disney releases. Maybe they because obviously Dave Bautista wants out of Guardians at this point. That much is clear. He says, I'll do what I'm legally obligated to do. But he doesn't want to do it. So I think we're going to hear in the coming weeks that Disney is going to let Dave Bautista out of his contract. I think we're going to hear in the coming weeks because this is just going to cause a lot of drama. Unless, Disney talks to James Gunn and then James Gunn calls Dave Bautista and says, hey, Dave, look, I appreciate the sentiment, but I want Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made. Like if they can get James Gunn to call Dave and say, look, I want Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made. Guardians of the Galaxy is my legacy. I've spent so many years working on this project and this property. I want it to be seen through, even if it's not me doing it. You got to get in there and do it. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. I think there's going to be a lot of back channel communicating going on, and we'll just have to see how all this turns out. I just found the comments very interesting because you don't normally see an actor make comments like that about a studio they are currently working for in the middle of a franchise they're still doing. You don't often see that. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out.